Well, my car is outraged. I got a flyer on it telling me it was a piece of junk. We're going to talk about that briefly and then move on to a much more important conversation between two candidates for the Iowa House, Bruce Hunter and Patty Bronco.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Ed Fallon here, folks. Gateway Market and Cafe is your locally owned source for specialty groceries. Enjoy chef-crafted, prepared foods, artisan baked goods, organic produce, specialty cheeses, and hand-selected wines and craft beer. Visit the lively cafe for breakfast, lunch, or dinner 7 days a week. Gateway Market is centrally located on the corner of Martin Luther King Jr. Parkway and Woodland Ave. Stop by or visit www.gatewaymarket.com for more details. That's Gateway Market, folks. Good food, great community.
This moment of silence brought to you by Tally's Restaurant Bar and Catering, home of Des Moines' premier rooftop dining experience. Located in the heart of Beaverdale, Tally's offers speedy and affordable rooftop lunch, catering for events both large and small, innovative cuisine, as well as vegetarian and gluten-free menus. Come to Tally's for live music, dry-aged steaks, Sunday brunch, and all-you-can-eat ribs every Monday night. Tally's Restaurant Bar and Catering at 2712 Beaver Avenue. Call 279-2067. That's 279-2067.
Tim Reynolds with Reynolds Energy Solutions will give you a comprehensive energy audit that will cost you nothing. Tim will identify the many ways in which you can reduce energy use while saving money. Ed Fallon had Tim over for an audit last month and was amazed at how much energy was going through the roof, the doors, and the windows. So, before the cold winds of winter blow, give Tim a call at 515-802-2801. That's 515-802-2801.
Open Sesame is Des Moines' premier Lebanese cafe. This month, Open Sesame is offering an unbeatable lunch special on Monday and Tuesdays. Mention the Fallon Forum when you order anything on Open Sesame's delicious lunch menu and get the second item for half price. That's right, buy one, get one for half price. Open Sesame's pita wraps, salads, soup, and mouth-watering Mideastern specialties will have you and your dining partner coming back again and again. Open Sesame at 313 East Locust Street in Des Moines' historic East Village.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
My stone tablet and chisel, folks. I mean, computers, modern technology has me just mystified. Hey, it's Brother Trucker kicking off our conversation, and we are the main event today. Of course, is a debate between Patty Bronco and Bruce Hunter. But at first, I've got to express my outrage. I came home yesterday, and on my beautiful 1995 Subaru, which has, I think, 236,000 miles on it, I found a flyer, and I can't hold it up to you. Would you? Is this what happens in front of a green screen? Woo! Okay, so that's why you never wear green on this show, Bruce or Patty. Okay, but the green flyer left on my car says, cash for unwanted junk vehicles. I mean, I am beyond outraged. This is a beautiful car. It has a balanced amount of rust on both sides. It has duct tape holding one piece of the car together. Okay, a few features don't work, like the tailgate and everything, and half of everything else, but it still runs. And it's not a junk car. But I'm curious about what happens if I call this guy who says call or text 619-7089, and I just, first of all, I want to share my concern, but I also want to know what he's going to do in terms of offering me a decent price for my car. Anyway. Okay, we're going to give him a call right now. I do want to tell you real quick though, the other major story in Des Moines. No, it's nothing to do with politics. It's the cougar. They gunned down a cougar on the north side of Des Moines. The Cougar Protection Society is outraged. PETA is planning a protest to boycott all of Des Moines because of our outrageous treatment of cougars. You know, I got to admit, it's hard to know what the right thing to do was. You know, maybe that was the only option. I guess you really don't want a cougar running around in Highland Park. I mean, Highland Park's a nice neighborhood. There are a bunch of kids up there. Maybe one of them would look juicy to a cougar, although I do know that cougars are not noted for devouring small children or even big children. So you have to wonder. But I will say this. I think it's really neat that wildlife is finding its way back into Iowa, stuff that used to be extinct. I mean, hey, turkeys were extinct in Iowa for a while. But now, not only do we have turkeys, we have bobcats, we have cougars, we have black bears. What next? The woolly mammoth? Anyway, if we, okay, we're not able to call or text the fellow who wants to classify my car as a junk vehicle. So maybe we'll try that during a break just for the fun of it. But I want to welcome to the show Bruce Hunter and Patty Bronco. Welcome, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Scoot this way a little bit, Patty, and we'll make sure you're not cut off. Now, behind you, of course, is the scenic view of the Iowa State Capitol. One of you has been representing the south part of Des Moines there for a long time. Bruce.
Absolutely. I've been there for 10 years now, and really has been an honor to serve the people of first District 64 and then now District 32.
Okay. So, and Patty is running against you because you're an entrenched incumbent who's now out of touch with the people? No.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Well, let's give me give each of you give me your two-minute, your stump speech. Why you're running?
I just feel like now that downtown is part of the district, we have so many empty stores and we have so many boarded up houses in that general area. I just wanted to give back and do something. I have a long history in business, learning leadership and strategic planning and business development, and I thought maybe I could take those skills. I retired 2 years ago and bring them to the legislature.
So you retired from what position?
I was in the financial services industry. When I left, I was actually managing 11 different credit union investment programs all over the nation for one company. Develop, manage key relationships with the senior management.
You didn't have anything to do with causing the financial crash on Wall Street, did you?
I did not.
Good.
Our people are very conservative in their investment recommendations.
So, Bruce, what's your 2-minute stump speech while you're running for re-election?
Well, I think in the 10 years that I've been in the House, we have gone through a lot of, I think, great changes in the state. I was responsible for bringing in, at the time, the toughest pseudo-federal law in the country to, not keep down on the crack houses and the meth houses around the state that had grown to disastrous levels. Also, either wrote or was the lead sponsor on such bills as same-day voter registration, expanding the civil rights laws to include a broader base of people, anti-bullying laws in the schools, making sure that we had preschool year-round for everybody that needed it, not just those that could afford it.
All right.
But we still have work to do.
So you want to go back and pick up where you left off, but this time in the minority. I mean, unless something changes, Republicans will still be in control at the Iowa House. But
I think we're going to surprise. I think we're going to surprise you come November.
You will surprise me if you win the majority, but
we're going to surprise you then.
And Patty, of course, is doing her part to make sure that doesn't happen. Let's start with one issue you just mentioned, and that's voter ID. Maybe, Patty, I mean, the Secretary of State, who's also a member of your party, Matt Schultz, has been pushing pretty hard to change certain aspects of the voting law to require photo ID and other things that have drawn a lot of criticism from the Democratic side of the aisle. What's your take on those efforts?
Well, my take on that is, first of all, he did identify 3,500 deceased people who had voted. And my basic philosophy on that is, why in the world would we want to stop somebody from doing what's right? The law says it's a federal offense to vote if you're not a citizen. It isn't to keep people out. It's to really make sure that it's fair. It's no secret that different states, different counties, all over the United States have had voter fraud cases, especially more and more with technology and absentee voting and early voting. So my take on it is, I don't see any problem. You need an ID to get on a plane. You need an ID to go to the dentist. You need an ID to go to the doctor.
You need an ID to go to the dentist?
You sure do. They want to make sure it's you using your insurance or you using your insurance.
I guess my dentist knows me well enough.
Well, mine too, but I'm just saying you need an ID to get on an airplane. Why would it be a problem to say who you are when you go to vote?
Bruce?
Well, the last I checked, the people that voted, you don't need to get on an airplane to vote. Iowa has always had, and is well known as having, an open, honest election where people, when they vote, they're voting right.
What about the alleged 3,500 people that were dead and yet voted?
That is the first I've heard of this. The 3,500 people, I would I would beg to differ with that. However, with voter ID laws, it's basically a suppression move. Number one, it's a poll tax. In order for anybody to get an ID, you've got to pay money to get that ID. Some people can't afford it, and some people won't go to the bother of getting that ID to vote. For example, my mother, 84 years old, diabetic, doesn't drive anymore, hasn't driven for the last 7 years, hasn't missed an election, I think, since Truman to vote. However, she's got to get an ID to vote. In order to get that ID, she's got to produce a birth certificate. She's 84 years old, has absolutely no idea where her birth certificate is, and quite frankly, is not going to go to the effort to locate that ID or locate that birth certificate to get the ID to vote. And it's happening with not only elderly people, but with recent citizens to this country, to people that are disadvantaged, to disabled people. Quite frankly, last I looked, most of those people are voting Democratic, and I think that is the reason we're pushing these voter ID laws.
You, Patty and Bruce, both feel free to. This is very free flowing. If you want to, I mean, I know we're all Iowa nice and polite here, but if you want to jump in and you see a point that you feel you got to comment on.
I just think we can agree to disagree because we're on totally opposite ends of the fence here.
But really, is this going to have the effect? Are some of the law changes that are being proposed here in Iowa and elsewhere having the effect of suppressing folks who would be inclined to vote Democratic?
I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think innocently some people who aren't citizens have registered to vote thinking, well, I live here for a year or two so I can vote. I think that's happened as well, and it doesn't matter whether they're Democrat or Republican. I just think that if the law says you have to be a citizen to vote, you should be a citizen to vote.
And we're not arguing that point at all. You have to be a citizen to vote in this country. Voter ID does nothing, absolutely nothing, to stem a fraudulent vote if that is going to happen with somebody coming in with a false ID. This does nothing to prevent voter fraud. All it does is suppress those people that do not now have IDs to come to the polls to vote.
Folks, this is the debate today between Bruce Hunter and Patty Bronco. If you live in a district other than District 34, that's the south and central portion of Des Moines, if you'd like to invite your candidates who are facing off in your district to come on the show, we have several opportunities left to schedule those debates, and gosh, I think it's good for democracy. And you're welcome to call in if you've got a comment, a question, if you want to compliment Bruce on how sharp he looks with a headset on his skull, or if you want to tell Patty that is the brightest color pink you've ever seen, call 244-0077 or toll free 855-244-0077. 0077. And yes, it does sound like a secret agent number. Okay, other issues that I know that have been brought up. I know, Patty, you mentioned the right to work law. Now, I know when I was here, right to work, that sounds good. But a lot of folks on the Democratic side, labor union folks in particular, don't think it's a very good idea. But tell me your take on right to work law and why you want to address that.
Well, before I tell you that, I'd like to tell you I'm from a union family. My dad and my brother were both policemen in Chicago. My cousin was the head of the plumbers union in Chicago many years ago, Stephen Lamb. And so, again, big union family, a lot of plumbers, a lot of policemen. And so I am not against union, but I do think when they tell people how to vote or tell people they must join or we're going to take money whether you join or not, I think that's a problem. So I definitely think unions have a benefit. I think they've helped people through the years. They kept little ones from working in factories. They kept people having a balanced life. They've been very good to my family, union working conditions. However, I think that there's a power struggle going on where it's gotten a little bit over the top, and they tell people how to vote in some cases, take money where people may. Now, I've talked to union people that say, look, I'm supposed to vote. I'm told I have to vote Democrat or I have to vote this way or that way. But when I'm in that booth, no one tells me what to do. So they feel some pressure for that.
I get the feeling that nobody can tell you what to do.
How do you know that?
That's the pink jersey. Bruce, what's your response?
There's several misconceptions there. Number one, first of all, Iowa does not have a right to work state. We do not have a right to work law in this state.
We will.
We have a right to get fired law. In this
Well,
state.
yeah, okay. We do have a right to work law, but you're describing it more accurately.
There's
according
nothing.
to the-
There's nothing. That law has nothing to do with the right to work.
Okay.
You can come into your job, you can work there for 20 years, and if your boss decides that he wants to fire you, he will fire you, whether it's for a good reason, a bad reason, or the fact that he doesn't like blue eyes, or the fact that after 20 years he might feel that you're making a little bit too much money. There is nothing in the law to prevent that. This is not a right to work law. That being said, I've worked with the AFL-CIO statewide on their voter registration law, or voter registration drives.
This is drives for membership in the union.
To get membership out to vote.
Yeah, to organize your. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
They do not force anybody to vote a certain way. They may actively campaign, just like anybody actively campaigns, to talk about candidates, to talk about issues, to say that this person or that person supports local values, union values, that type of thing. I have never heard of one proven instance that the union forced anyone to vote a certain way.
But the issue really is, I mean, the core of the issue is what happens in the workplace.
Exactly.
And right now, I mean, their labor unions would like to change the law to make it easier for people to organize their workplace, because right now it's not so easy.
Right.
And the idea is that non-union members will realize the benefits garnered through collective bargaining by those who are members of the union. So I mean that's my take on it, is that folks who aren't in the union, aren't required to join the union under the current law, still get the benefits. And so the idea is to change that so that even if you aren't in the union, if you benefiting from what's going on in negotiations, you have to, if not join the union, at least pay something toward it. I mean, I think that's what's been called fair share. Fair share. So how would you feel about that?
Well, I know that's going on, but I think a lot of people that I've spoken to feel like it's fair share as far as contributing, but it isn't fair to be told they have to join. Some people just
You cannot be told to join a union in this state. That is against the law to join a union.
But some organizations are trying to get it to that point, correct?
No, there's never been a law. In my 10 years as a state representative, there has never been one law or one bill introduced by myself or anybody else to force anybody to join a union.
But the legislation under consideration would require non-union members to pay something toward the benefits accrued.
Absolutely.
Whether they want to or not.
Absolutely.
But then they get the benefits. I don't know.
When the example that I gave before of the person that had been there for 20 years and is fired for no reason or a bad reason at all, the only protection that they have is organized labor if they belong to a union. Now, union membership is down in the state, granted. But the only protection that people have against a bad employer is organized labor. Now, when people when they first enter the work site, when they interview for a job, when they are looking at a specific company, because they have good benefits, good wages, protection against being hired at will, it's because the union has negotiated those terms over the years through hardship, through anything that you can imagine that has been negotiated. And those people come there knowing that the unions have gotten those things for their company. And then they come in and they take advantage of that, which is fine. But what we're saying is that you should pay a little bit for the negotiation that's gone on for those, for the grievances that if you do run into a problem with management, the union is required to represent you in front of it. And that costs money. So all the fair share does is says you should pay your fair share for those services.
Well, I never said I was against union. I said I'm a
right.
union
No, you
family.
made that clear.
I just think that they need to know their place, and a lot of what you're saying is true. However, I've been in corporate America for many years, and I managed over 120 people in a big bank. And let me tell you, if we fired somebody because they had blue eyes or brown eyes, or because they were black or white or yellow, we would have lawsuits to deal with, and you just didn't do it. But you do have a right to say, for instance, like if these guys were working for me here, these guys on the corner of Court Avenue that I saw every day when I was walking, you see them? Can you see them? It's green, unfortunately.
I can hear them, too. They're very loud in my ears, the paper crinkles.
Well, every day I saw that. 3 guys with a broom, and I'm sure they're union folks. If I were a legislator, I would want to wonder why we have so many people on the payroll that are standing around. Honestly, every day we walk in the nice weather down the river, that's what I'd see. And they let me take a picture. One of them waved at me once. I'm like...
Did you talk to them?
No, I didn't want to insult them, but
No, not insulting. Did you talk to them?
No, I didn't talk to them.
So you don't know who they worked for?
Well, they're city workers because they had the green city jackets on. They're city workers.
Oh, I thought this was a construction area that you were...
No, they're sweeping.
Okay. So you took this picture where there was... But you didn't talk to him to get the circumstances or anything. We just have a picture of...
Well, I'd be embarrassed to ask 3 men why you're all standing around with a broom. To be honest with you,
if you're gonna show that picture in a situation like that, I would hope that you would have had the information of why they were doing that. And
well, they're still there,
and not just saying they're there because they're lazy.
It is somewhat anecdotal.
Workers.
I mean,
no, I'm not saying they're lazy. I'm saying they're probably getting paid $20 an hour, and are we utilizing them well? So I'm not against union, but I do think a company like Anderson Erickson, for instance, should have a right to say we're freezing salaries. I think a company should have a right to say you are not performing, teacher, worker, corporate, whatever, you're not performing and we need to let you go.
Look, when we come back, I want to talk about energy, education, jobs, campaign finance. There's a bunch of issues we want to get into. The time goes by really fast, but folks, you are also welcome to jump in with your comment, your question, your flattering advice to Bruce and Patty on their selection of purple and pink. I mean, it's almost like you guys
we do look good.
You do look good.
We did. We got the memo.
I think she looks better, Bruce. All right.
I can't argue that point.
All right, we're going to go to a break, but again, 244-00-77, the number to call to join the conversation here on the Fallon Forum.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Community CPA is the 15th largest CPA firm in Iowa, providing audit, tax, and accounting services. Community CPA specializes in international tax treaty and double taxation avoidance among countries and states. 9 dedicated, experienced, hardworking staff are the company's foundation, and their compassion towards every client is the secret behind Community CPA's success. At Community CPA, you can expect quality service year-round. Call 288-3188. Community CPA, 3816 Ingersoll. Experience the difference.
Tim Reynolds with Reynolds Energy Solutions will give you a comprehensive energy audit that will cost you nothing. Tim will identify the many ways in which you can reduce energy use while saving money. Ed Fallon had Tim over for an audit last month and was amazed at how much energy was going through the roof, the doors, and the windows. So, before the cold winds of winter blow, give Tim a call at 515-802-2801. That's 515-802-2801.
Times are tough, and most people are just trying to make their cars last a little bit longer. That's why you should know about Sargent's Garage in Des Moines. You can trust Sargent's to make the right diagnosis and give you a fair price. Whether it's a routine oil change or a major repair, Sargent's always does outstanding work. So don't give up on that old car just yet. Call Sargent's Garage at 246-8149. That's 246-8149 for Sargent's Garage.
Hi, folks. It's Ed Fallon here. Proof Restaurant at 13th and Locust. You've probably been there for their award-winning, nationally recognized lunch specials. Well, now Proof is open Thursdays and Fridays for supper. And here's where the chefs really get creative. Let me tell you, they're like artists, okay? I've been there, and it is one of the best meals I have had in Des Moines. I've heard that from other people. You got to check it out. Proof for supper, Thursdays and Fridays, and also the second Saturday of the month. Do not assume you can get in. Make reservations. Contact Proof Restaurant online at proofrestaurant.com or 244-0655. That's 244-0655.
Well, hi, I'm Rob Spearman. I'm a broker-owner of RE/MAX Real Estate Concepts in Des Moines, Iowa. Give us a call if you're looking at buying or selling a home. Or if you're having trouble on your mortgage payments or looking to purchase foreclosures, we have the agents to help you, experienced, outstanding agents. Our office number is 515-276-2872. Or if you'd like to look at homes, go to our website, homeconnectusa.com.
There is hope. Visit groundwire.net and chat now with a live coach for answers.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Beautiful day in front of the Iowa State Capitol. You know, I can't get enough of the Iowa State Capitol. Look, I mean, isn't that beautiful? You got the scaffolding. Oh, wait. Oh, there we go. You got the scaffolding. It's still going there. You see the scaffolding. And over here you got the flag, which isn't moving at all. Okay, I'm having a really hard time touching my nose and talking at the same time. Maddie is on the phone with the guy who wants to. Oh, he hung up on you. I'm even more offended than before. He wouldn't even take my offer. I was gonna sell him my 1995 236,000 mile Subaru for $1,000, and he wouldn't even hear of it. Anyway,
Ed?
Yeah?
I got my 1998 Ford Escort Sport.
Yeah?
For like $1,200. There's no way you'd junk a car for $1,000.
Well, okay, you shoot for the moon, and if you don't get it, you just keep driving the junker, I guess. Okay, back to our conversation with Bruce Hunter and Patty Bronco. They are candidates for the legislature in House District 34. Bruce is the incumbent, and Patty is challenging him, and she's taking the gloves off. Anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about jobs and the economy here. I've got a caller from Dubuque, Chuck, on the phone. Chuck, welcome to the Fallon Forum. Chuck, are you there? Well, Maddie, what happened to Chuck?
I think you hung up on him.
Oh, he hung up.
Somebody hung up on him.
Somebody hung up on Chuck. If you're still listening, call back. Sorry about that. But anyway, jobs in the economy. Where do you want to start? Who wants to kick that one off?
I will.
Go ahead.
What I think might, especially walking down here in this beautiful skywalk with all the stores that are closed and the areas that are closed, I think that our corporate tax rate, it's 6% under $25,000. And it goes up to 12% when somebody's making $250,000. That's small business. That's a big chunk. Plus federal, a small business could end up paying 50%, 55%. That's high. So it doesn't encourage people to come here. I think in the downtown area where there are these stores that are closed, these Yonkers, some of the beautiful buildings, I think if we could work out, and he may tell me this isn't doable, but to back up, the plaza filled up quickly when they had a tax rebate. They gave people a 10-year break on tax. If we did that for businesses, I think I would have the courage to go knock on the door of the CEOs of Trader Joe's and Marshall's and Mac's and some of those folks and try to get them to consider looking into downtown Des Moines. I just don't think they're aware of the opportunity here. 70,000 people, verified by the Des Moines Register, 70,000 people live and work every day in the downtown area.
And I think we can come to some sort of an agreement that corporate taxes are a little bit skewed to the high side. And we need to look at those. But we also need to look at taxes, the overall tax scheme. Because you can't, as we tried last year and failed miserably, you can't mess with one tax, the corporate tax, property taxes, without it affecting every other piece of the pie on that. And the way we were doing it last year, we didn't take the other pieces of the pie into consideration, and it was costing cities. For example, if we would have passed the House corporate property tax version, it would have cost the city of Des Moines somewhere in the neighborhood of $18 million a year. That $18 million a year would have come in with less policemen on the job, less firefighters on the job, less services that the city would have been able to provide. So we need to look at not only corporate taxes, but how they affect other pieces of the pie, which kind of goes into bringing businesses in. The state of Iowa seems to be hung up, and our only tool that we've been using lately to attract businesses in are tax credits. Tax credits, in my estimation, and if you look at my record, I think I've only voted for one tax credit in my.
I think there were plenty of times, Bruce, when you were the lone no vote, and I felt a little bit. That was one of the only times I missed being at the legislature, when I could have helped provide you a second no vote on some of those tax breaks, because I've never been a fan of that way of micromanaging the economy. And
we've always jumped in with those tax breaks. I mean, just last week, and I'm not saying we shouldn't bring the Egyptian fertilizer firm in, but we suddenly jumped from $25 million to $110 million worth of tax breaks just from the state. That doesn't include what was given locally.
So did you support would you have supported the $251 million tax incentive package for the Egyptian fertilizer company?
Absolutely not. We were taken in by that.
Okay. How about you, Patty? What would you say?
I would have to know a lot more about it, but from what I understand, it's creating a lot of revenue for the farmers, so they don't have to go outside the state to get their fertilizer and their other products. So the positive I saw is some multi-million-dollar windfall for our own farmers, which are in need of some help. But I'd have to see the whole thing.
1.5 million
I only see
per job.
Well, I only see, but I only see what the Des Moines Register shows. It's
the liberal rag known as the Des Moines Register.
Well,
and yes, Patty's right. It's going to bring in some jobs. It's going to bring in revenue into the state. However, we gave up $80 to $90 million more than what we should have been offering from our original offer, all because the company itself said, well, Illinois did us that. And that was the problem with our economic development tool. We have no one there to, number one, verify if any of these.
It's not a public agency anymore. It's become a private agency.
It's basically
they can negotiate behind closed doors.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, let's go to our phone line. So who do we got, Maddie?
We have Chuck from Dubuque.
Hello, Chuck. Welcome to the program. Hopefully we've got you on the phone this time.
Yeah, I'm glad you finally figured out how your system worked there.
No, actually, we really didn't want to talk to you, so we dumped you the first time. No, I'm kidding. What's up?
In my previous lives and current life, I'm in the legislature with Bruce. One of these.
Oh, that Chuck. Okay. You're being double-teamed, Patty.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm trying to present a fair question. It's a statewide concern, which is why I'm calling from Dubuque.
Okay.
There have been a lot of radical changes in recent months at the Iowa Workforce Development. Cutbacks that, in many people's opinion, have hurt the opportunities for unemployed and underemployed workers to get good jobs and get back into the workforce and paying taxes. I'm wondering if the candidates think this is a good direction to take. Do we need to do more of it? Or do we need to maybe reconsider some of the moves that we've made and are making?
Who wants to start with that one?
I can start with that.
Thank you, Chuck.
In a time when not only the country but the state of Iowa is hit probably the worst economic time since the Great Depression, and hundreds of thousands of people were out of work and really not knowing even what questions to ask. Some people have worked all their lives and suddenly found themselves out of work and didn't know where to turn to. With the old workforce development system, you at least had a building and somebody to talk to guide you through the process of filling out a resume, getting proper training maybe for new technologies, where and how to ask for new jobs. The way the governor has set up the new workforce development area, you've got a computer in a library to go to.
So a bunch of them were closed.
Absolutely.
What's your stand?
Are all of them closed? I don't think all of them are
just
closed.
A bunch of them. 30-something maybe?
36, I believe.
Leaving how many? 10, 12?
Do you know, Chuck, how many are still functioning?
I don't know how many of the rural offices are still in play. Not all of them are closed. At least a couple were kept open. But there are, I believe, 16 one-stop centers in the urban areas that have continued to open, are continued to operate. But even there, some of the changes, there are some changes proposed that may have some impact.
See, I'm 100% for that. You know, I know even in corporate world, if somebody was let go or there was a merger, we did that for people. We gave them an office and a phone and a reason to have a place to go every day and feel a purpose. But I'm thinking, you know, maybe some of the offices that were closed didn't have enough activity, didn't have enough people. I mean, certainly some analysis was done. I don't think arbitrarily somebody just said, look, let's just close half the, you know, wasn't there some analysis done and they decided that 2 people a week were coming into this location and maybe that location wasn't absolutely necessary. I would have to see more, but I definitely think we need those places. I don't know if we needed as many as we had.
Whether, and if there was analysis done, it was very, very poor analysis. But even with that, if I'm the person that is unemployed, that just got laid off from my job after working there 10, 15 years because of the economy, and I don't know where to turn to, whether there was 2 people or 100 people going into a certain location, I am now forced to go into a library where the only person that's there to ask questions is a librarian who's not trained in workforce development, to go to a computer where I'm not even sure which questions to ask, much less where I find it on this computer.
No, what I said is, you know, was one a block away from a person and maybe now they've got to go 2 or 3 miles? That's what I meant. Is it just that it became a little bit inconvenient?
It's not. It's now they have to go 40 miles or so to.
Well, then I'm all for workforce development. I think we need guidance. We need people to feel like they have a purpose, help with a resume, help knowing how to reach out to people. Actually, you know, I did career counseling at one time when I was doing project management, and it's important how they dress, how they look, how they act, how they talk, and that doesn't all just come naturally sometimes.
Chuck, I'll give you the final word if you've got another comment to make about this.
No, I don't want to take any time away from your candidate.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Chuck.
All right. Appreciate it. There are some new job numbers out, I think just today, and they're showing favorable movement on the unemployment front. What is it now? Is it down to 7.8? 7.8. Patty, I noticed you have a Mitt Romney sticker.
You bet.
Yeah. Does that help or hurt your candidate?
Well, I really believe he would like to see unemployment come down. He's not hoping that it stays up.
Oh, sure.
So I'm sure, you know, I don't know if it helps or hurts. It's a small piece of the whole pie. There's still 20-some million people out of work. And there's also a lot that have stopped looking that we're not counting in that 7.8. So, you know, the people I know in business, and I've knocked on a lot of doors. You see my signs on Southwest 9th. A lot of them are saying that they're afraid to hire. They don't know where they're going to be in a year. They don't know where it's going to be in January. So,
usually when those kind of numbers go up close to an election, it helps the incumbent. I mean, do you think it's going to help Obama, Bruce?
I think so. I'm not enough of a national political pundit to say if it's going to skew one way or another. What I'm concerned about is, you know, bringing new jobs into Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think the way we do that is not to so much give out tax credits as our one and only tool to bring new businesses into the state, but we do it in a long term.
But giving a tax credit to a place like Yonkers where nothing is coming through there now, or some of these empty stores where nothing is coming through, at least you start to generate local tax, jobs, things like that. So there's a benefit to it. I mean,
absolutely, there's a benefit to tax credits, but it can't be the one and only tool you use in an economic development plan. You also need to, in the long term, bring businesses in by making sure that we have the skilled workforce that's needed to bring in high quality, high paying jobs, and we do that through investments in education and through our community, and we also make sure that we have investments in infrastructure and that type of thing.
Speaking of jobs, when we come back from a break, I want to talk about energy. There's certainly a lot of jobs involved with the wind energy industry, and also a lot of jobs involved with conservation and efficiency. We're going to talk about that when we come back. I want to thank our sponsors, the the Physicians for Social Responsibility, and also the Iowa chapter of the Sierra Club. And after this program, I'm going to go support one of the businesses that support this alternative to commercial talk radio. I'm going to go to host. And you guys have been invited to host by the owner. Katie says, come on down. Anyway, Host is a great lunch venue at 13th and Locust. And while having lunch there today, you can watch them setting up for the Bon Jovi concert. That's probably of more interest to Bruce than it is to Patty. He's here to stump for Obama, apparently.
Saw Bon Jovi when he was here for Kerry.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I know Katie at Host. It's a wonderful place, Steve.
Yeah,
been there.
Yeah, so check it out, folks. That's Host at 13th and Locust, named after a flock of sparrows. How cool is that? We'll be back in a few minutes, and you're, again, welcome to join the conversation at 244-0077.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Well, good morning. This is the 7th of June in the Lord's year 2010, and this is day 1 of WebcastOneLive.com. We will begin with Max World Live with my special guest, Tom Coates. In just a minute, there's Tom. Wait. Howdy. And we will be live for the very first time on Webcast One Live. Someday we're going to look back on this and say, gosh, remember that old day in history? Wonder where Walter Cronkite was. He must have been around hanging there too. But actually, it's the beginning of Webcast One Live. And thank you for listening. Thanks, Rob Spearman, and everybody who's put together this project together. And we're ready to go live now. So thanks for listening to MaxWorldLive.com. I can't tell you that it's going real well from time to time, but it is going, man.
Hi, folks. Ed Fallon here. When it is time to entertain, think of Gateway Market. Let them handle the details. Gateway offers a wide variety of stress-free options like cut-to-order cheese and charcuterie. There's a delicious olive bar and a wide variety of chef-prepared dips and spreads. Or let the catering team take care of the entire event, right down to the wine and beer pairings. The expert floral designers can even customize the perfect centerpieces. So stop by or visit Gateway Market for more information. Gateway is at Woodland and ML King in downtown Des Moines. Good food, great entertaining.
Nestled in the heart of downtown, Ritual Cafe is one of Des Moines' most unique places, offering a wide variety of coffee and tea. Ritual Cafe also serves the only all-vegetarian menu in town. And Ritual Cafe is a cultural hub for artists and musicians, with a performance stage hosting local, national, and international talent. Make Ritual Cafe a part of your daily ritual. On 13th Street between Locust and Grand in downtown Des Moines. And check out ritualcafe.com.
With warm weather finally here, it's time to think about upgrading the efficiency of your furnace and air conditioner. Leonard Tinker Heating and Cooling has provided honest, competent service for over 20 years. Whether it's your home or business, for repair work or to install a more energy-efficient furnace or air conditioner, call Leonard Tinker at 263-0422. That's 263-0422. For honest, competent heating and cooling service, call Leonard Tinker at 263-0422.
I love driving to Newton to see the races.
Me too, but I only have to drive across town.
You live in Newton?
Yep, Newton's got small town charm and it's close to Des Moines. I love the safe, friendly neighborhoods and family-owned businesses. And Newton's wind energy industry is really taking off.
How'd you find your home?
Dan Kelly with First Choice Realty. And Dan helped me find my office too.
Next time, instead of just speeding by, I'll stop in and check out Newton.
Why don't you check out Newton? Call Dan Kelly at 641-521-9260 or Dan Kelly at mchsi.com.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Welcome back, folks. Hey, tonight, a benefit for Willow Song. Willow Song is a wonderful medical clinic that provides midwife services. There's a fundraiser for Willow Song at Jasper Winery, and pretty much anything at Jasper Winery is worth the $35 asking price. And again, it goes to a good cause, a nonprofit that is doing fantastic work here in Des Moines. That's from 6 to 9 tonight. It's the theme is Global to Local, Why Birth Matters. Suzanne Arms, who was on my show yesterday, will be there. It's a good event. Check it out, 6 to 9 tonight at Jasper Winery. Also, I want to make a plug for Occupy Des Moines' one-year anniversary. This Sunday at 1 o'clock, there will be a march from 42nd and Grand on down to Nolan Plaza with 2 stops along the way. A soapbox at the Governor's Mansion and a second soapbox at the Sculpture Park. I suspect the Occupy marchers might get a better reception from the sculptures than from the governor. Sorry, Patty.
Quite all right.
But if you'd like to join in, again, the march starts at 1. The rally at Nolan Plaza is at 3:30. And after that, there will be conversation about the movement and where it goes from here. I want to play a brief clip from the debate and just get your take on this, folks. And I know this is not exactly debate material for us, but I think to me, it was one of probably the most important element of the debate. It was when Obama basically used Occupy Wall Street messaging, and I noticed that the lines indicating support, favorable response from the undecided voters went way up when he was saying this when he was making this point. I will say he made the point somewhat haltingly, which was interesting to me, but basically the message is what you were hearing from the Occupy Wall Street movement.
What the governor just said.
Well, I think this is a great example. The reason we have been in such an enormous economic crisis was prompted by reckless behavior across the board. Now, it wasn't just on Wall Street. You had loan officers that were given loans and mortgages that really shouldn't have been given because the folks didn't qualify. You had people who were borrowing money to buy a house that they couldn't afford. You had credit agencies that were stamping these as A1 great investments when they weren't. But you also had banks making money hand over fist, churning out products that the bankers themselves didn't even understand in order to make big profits, but knowing that it made the entire system vulnerable.
So, I mean, straight out of the Occupy Wall Street playbook, I wish actually that Occupy Wall Street would be so consistent about that message, because that message, in my opinion, resonates across the political spectrum. I mean, let me ask you, Patty, as a Republican, did you find any fault with what Obama was saying there?
No, but I'd like to add that if you think he inherited a mess this time, wait till he sees what he's going to inherit the next term.
What do you mean?
Well, think about that. What has he done in 4 years? Nothing's. He keeps talking about what he inherited, what he inherited, what he inherited. What has he done to fix it? That's all I ask.
I'll tell you what he's done to fix it. He's, contrary to the popular opinion of the Republican Party, the bailout plans have worked. We've got a car industry that the good governor has said,
cash for clunkers.
Yeah.
But I can't get cash for my clunker. Gosh.
And he said let it
hung
fail.
Up on.
He said let the industry fail. The Obama administration said no, we can't let it fail, because not only would the car industry have gone down, the entire manufacturing sector, including plants in Iowa, would have also failed because of that. We have the audio industry back up and running because of what Obama has done. We've got teachers in the classroom in Iowa. We've got policemen on the streets in Iowa because of what Obama has done with his bailout program.
But I mean, do you see the? What I heard there was the Occupy Wall Street message. It had a lot of play last fall. It changed the debate last fall. The debate not just between candidates but across the country in the media and whatnot. And I saw it enter the debate briefly, and the Wall Street Journal reported on this as well. And it had an influence on how people responded. And what I hear you saying, Patty, is that you don't want to give Obama any credit, and that's fair enough. You're a Republican. You're not supposed to do that. But the message itself, Did that make sense to you?
The message made sense. I think a lot of what he said is very valid. In fact, I will tell you, when I left the financial services industry, we were so overregulated and there were so many different games going on in different areas of the business that it was overwhelming to keep track of everything that was happening. So,
well, I mean, some would say the problem was that it was not regulated.
Yeah, I was just going to point out, I think a lot of the problem in the financial industry with the collapse is because there weren't enough regulations that to stop them from making bad loans, from making
well, there sure are now. Let me tell you.
Well, let me
you have to take blood to sell an annuity to somebody.
Well, that's a new form of a blood drive, I guess. let me ask you a question related back to the jobs issue, and we'll start with Patty. Again, your guy Mitt Romney came out against the wind energy. He got flack from Branstad, from Grassley, from King, from every leading element of the Republican Party here in Iowa. What's your take on wind energy?
I think wind energy is great. I think solar is great. But there's a statistic out that said if we maximize every single possible area of wind and solar, we would only be replacing maybe 10% of what people use. I think we need to drill. I'm sorry we're not doing the Keystone Pipeline.
Wait, you're running for the legislature or Congress?
Well,
we're not going to drill here in Iowa, are we?
No, but you're talking about energy. I think we're sitting on a look. If the eastern countries, Mideast, stops giving us our oil for any reason, we have 30-day supply. We have a 30-day supply for heating, for work, running equipment. We're screwed.
Okay, but what about the wind energy?
I think it's wonderful, but I don't see how it could ever replace everything.
But the tax credits that Mitt Romney has come out in opposition to.
Well, he doesn't like tax credits, my opponent here. So I'm going to say I don't mind the tax credits in that.
So you like him in this case?
Yeah.
So Mr. Anti-Tax Credit.
Mr. Anti-Tax Credit.
What do you think of the wind energy tax credits?
Well, now he probably likes them.
In this case, because it's part of an overall economic program, you'll hear from the wind industry in Iowa that has created hundreds, if not thousands, of jobs. That if those tax credits are stopped, and that if Congress doesn't act on renewing the tax credits for wind industry, we're going to lose a lot of jobs in this state.
I think it's 6,000 or 7,000 jobs related to wind.
Exactly.
So you would support Congress reinstating extending the wind energy tax credit
as part of an overall economic program.
I would too, but again, I'd want to see all of it and make sure that it didn't. Right now, 92 cents on every dollar is what we're spending. Okay. Prior to Branstad, it was $1.14 for every dollar we took in. We were over budget.
I'm not following you there. I didn't follow you there.
The state budget right now is spending 92 cents on every dollar they take in. They're taking in more than they're spending.
I wouldn't brag about that too much.
Why not?
Well, number one, it's a fallacy to say that we're spending more money than we brought in.
No, less now.
No.
You're saying less now, but you're implying more under COVID.
It was.
What you're looking at, we'll go with you on this one. Number one, the state budget has to be balanced
by law.
Yeah,
and that was a bipartisan effort. That was good.
It's good, yeah.
By law, it has to be balanced. To say that we spent more than we took in is, if you look at the entire picture, was probably correct during the times of the economic disaster that we were looking at 4 years ago. We took in money from the federal government that didn't come from the Iowa taxpayer. But that money, again, was used to keep policemen on the street, keep teachers in their classrooms, to keep firemen available in times of emergency, to keep Iowa in a AAA bond rating, and to make sure that our unemployment rate was at the 6% and not at the 9% as it was. So yes, we did.
Let me switch there, Bruce, to we don't have too much time left. Education. Education is a huge issue because K through 12 funding takes up a huge chunk of the state budget. But I think most of us agree that that's okay because it's really, really important that our kids have the highest quality education possible. But what do you see happening this coming session? What would you support doing on education this coming session? And same question to you, Patty.
Well, I think, first of all, we have to make sure that no items off the table when it comes to education.
No item left behind.
No item left behind.
Okay.
Exactly. And that means bringing in parents to make sure that we get the buy-in and get to know from our parents and our taxpayers in the state of Iowa how far they're willing to go with improving education and making sure that they're a partner in our education process. I think in the last couple of years we've left parents out of the equation as we're trying to get buy-ins from everybody for education reform. Then we go into workforce and our teachers to make sure that what we're teaching is relevant to not only the students but to the workforce out there. And then make sure that we actually, the teachers that are doing the job of educating our kids at a world-class level, make sure we respect them. And I mean financially as well.
Paid correct. Do you think teachers are paid enough, Patty?
Well, I looked right before I came, and they range from 20 to, there was a coach, 20-year coach making 95. So, yeah, I think they're paid pretty fairly well on scale with most other states. My take, biggest part of the budget's education. 30 years ago when I married my husband here, we were number one in Iowa.
Iowa was, yeah.
Iowa was, and we're in the middle now. And yes, I agree with Bruce. I think the parents need to be more involved. I'm a Catholic school person, so is my husband. So our parents were always very involved. I think that's an important part of the equation. But I also think in any job, in any company, results tell you if the person is performing. And if you have a classroom where everybody's failing, I don't want to hear it's violence and they're hungry or they're poor. That's not enough of a reason for them not to be learning. Then teach the teachers how to inspire, how to motivate. Find teachers that are able to inspire and motivate these kids beyond their hardships. But I think the teachers need to be accountable.
All right, let me ask you one more question as we're running out of time here. A big issue for me has always been campaign finance reform. And I know that people across the political spectrum believe there is way too much money in politics right now. What would you do, Patty, to address the issue of money in politics?
Well, on a local level,
state level,
yeah, we're pretty monitored. I mean, I don't see those big expenditures at our level. I mean, unless I'm missing.
Well, here's something you are missing. Iowa is one of only 9 states that do not cap the size of individual donations.
Correct, that's true.
Did you change that?
No, I like that. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Good.
I'm not sure she
that was good.
I had to tell several people there is no limit. No, you're right. You're right. There is for federal, but not for state.
Right.
Yeah, and it hasn't been an issue for me because I haven't had anybody like really rolling in the wheelbarrows of money. But
maybe after this program, somebody will step forward and offer you $50,000.
I'm sure. Bruce is
sure,
going to. No,
okay.
Bruce. No.
But I mean, would you support some kind of cap like we have for federal
I think
office?
yeah, and I always thought there was. I always thought there was until I ran.
What about public financing? An option for voluntary public financing. The bill that I think Pam Yoakum in the Senate has been leading the charge on.
I don't know if it should be financed by public funds.
Even if it's voluntary?
Voluntary, meaning the public says.
No. You can opt to enroll in the program. Like we have public financing for the president.
Yes,
for that
I know.
office, right?
I know. Yes.
So that you can opt in, you can opt out. Why not for state office?
I think if people want to run, they get their medal by working their own funds. There's plenty of money out there.
By working the lobby.
Well, I haven't had that opportunity yet, but except at the dentist that night.
The dentist, okay.
They took us to dinner.
Let me ask Bruce the same questions about the limiting the size of donations and the public financing option.
When it costs upwards to $250,000 to run for office in the state of Iowa, not particularly
for a state house seat.
For a state house,
it pays $30,000.
That pays
24.
Well, with the per diem, all the other things, folded in it. Okay,
it does two things. Number one, it limits who's running for office. It takes away a lot of good people from running for office. Mm-hmm. And number two, it gives at least the appearance, if not the actual reality, of being beholden to your
donors.
To donors. The only way to get rid of that, to get rid of the perception, is through public financing. I really, truly believe that. If we want good quality people running for office and not being beholden to those that are giving us money, the only way is to be beholden to our taxpayer base through public finance.
Thank you both for joining us, Bruce Hunter and Patty Bronco. If you live in downtown Des Moines, parts of Sherman Hill, or on down south, you may have an opportunity to vote for one of these two fine individuals. So again, thank you both for taking the time to join us.
Thank you, Ed.
Thanks.
And again, if you live in a district with a couple or even three candidates, I'm happy to have a third candidate on this program. If there's a third-party candidate running or an independent, please feel free to invite them to join in as well. I'd love to have more candidates, offer the opportunity for people to hear their thoughts in this format. I want to thank Webcast One Live for helping to provide the studio for this broadcast. I want to thank Maddie Arrington, our producer. I want to thank all of the local businesses that help make the show possible, including Tim Reynolds with Reynolds Energy Solutions. Definitely get an audit done, folks. An energy audit will cost you nothing and will identify lots of ways you can reduce your carbon footprint and save a bundle of money. Hey, look ahead next week, Monday. I've got a farmer from Nebraska, Randy Thompson, joining us to talk about his take on the Keystone Pipeline. On Tuesday, we're going to hear from Graham Gillette about the Des Moines Public School lawsuit that's been filed. We're also going to have Max Wellman's back in town. He's going to join us on Tuesday as well. Wednesday, Ken Herring, a Democratic candidate running against Ralph Watson in Dallas County. Ralph declined to do a debate. At least he responded. But Ken will be with us. Also, Kelly Gerling will call in and join us to talk about a national movement called the People's Congress. And on Thursday, Nathaniel Baer will join us for a conversation about nuclear power. Folks, thanks again so much for joining us. We will be back Monday at 12 o'clock again, but please stay tuned for Bradshaw.
I'm just saying. 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 Ching ching. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Feeling alone? God knows and He understands. Chat now with someone who cares at groundwire.net.
Well, hi, I'm Rob Spearman. I'm a broker-owner of RE/MAX Real Estate Concepts in Des Moines, Iowa. Give us a call if you're looking at buying or selling a home, or if you're having trouble on your mortgage payments or looking to purchase foreclosures. We have the agents to help you, experienced, outstanding agents. Our office number is 515-276-2872. Or if you'd like to look at homes, go to our website, homeconnectusa.com.
Hi, I'm J. Michael McCoy, and about 20 years ago, I went to a used car salesman by the name of John Hewitt. He had a little shop over there on North 2nd Avenue called John's Auto Sales, and I bought a car. I found that experience to be one that I had never had before from a used car salesman. He was honest, he was dependable, he had integrity, and he did what he said he was going to do. Well, over the years, between my kids and grandkids, I've purchased 7 vehicles from John's Auto Sales. And last month, I asked him to be a sponsor. And he said not only would he like to be a sponsor, but he would offer a $100 tithe for every customer that came and bought a car from him directly to the church of your choice. I can tell you about their huge selection. I can tell you about their years of experience. I can tell you about their honest integrity. But all I really need to tell you is that I bought 7 cars, and you can trust them. John's Auto Sales, 5435 2nd Avenue, Des Moines.
You need a good ride when you hit the trail. Trust the man with the cars, and he goes by the name of Big John. Big John. Big John. From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.